There comes a moment in every person's life when silence becomes louder than noise, when a single internal shift can transform the world around you. Today, I want you to understand one truth that can change the course of your relationships, your confidence, and the respect you receive from others. People respond not to who you say you are, but to the energy you carry, the boundaries you set, and the self-respect you embody. And the moment you master this, even once, you will notice the world adjusting itself around you. Not because people changed, but because you did. Self-respect is the silent language that shapes how the world receives you. It is not something you shout, not something you force, and not something you demand. It is something you embody. And the moment you begin to treat yourself differently, the moment you elevate the way you carry your emotions, your boundaries, and your energy, people around you instinctively start to adjust. They sense the difference in your presence long before you ever speak a word. Self-respect sets the tone for every interaction you will ever have, because people learn how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. When you walk into a room with a grounded mind, clear intentions, and a calm confidence, you create an invisible boundary around you, one that tells others, without speaking, that you will not tolerate anything that disturbs your peace. Many people go through life wondering why they are overlooked, underestimated, or mistreated, yet they never realize that the world follows the example they themselves set. If you downplay your worth, people will downplay it too. If you allow disrespect, even once, people assume they have permission to continue. If you constantly overextend yourself to be liked, people will take advantage of the effort you offer. But when you shift your energy, even slightly, when you stop chasing acceptance and begin prioritizing your own emotional space, you send a powerful message. You tell yourself and the world that your peace is valuable, your time is meaningful, and your presence is not something to be taken lightly. This is the moment when people start noticing the change. They become more careful with their words, more aware of their tone, more conscious of how they approach you, because you have raised the standard by raising your self-respect. Self-respect also changes how you respond to negativity and chaos. Instead of reacting, you choose to observe. Instead of explaining yourself repeatedly to those determined not to understand you, you conserve your energy. You stop justifying your boundaries or apologizing for decisions that protect your mental well-being. And this shift does not push people away, it filters them. Those who cannot handle your growth will distance themselves, but those who value your stability will draw closer. Your relationships begin to evolve, not through confrontation, but through clarity. You start to recognize who meets your energy and who drains it, who honors your presence and who takes it for granted. And because you finally respect yourself enough to choose wisely, your life becomes lighter, calmer, and more aligned. The truth is, people naturally admire someone who carries themselves with dignity and discipline. A person who doesn't need to prove anything is far more powerful than one who tries to be understood by everyone. When you move with self-respect, you move with purpose. You choose your words carefully. You protect your energy. You step away from unnecessary drama without making announcements. And this calm strength makes others treat you with a different level of consideration. They sense that you are not someone to use, manipulate, or overlook. You become someone they value, someone they think twice before disappointing, someone whose presence shifts the atmosphere because your self-respect sets a standard that others must rise to meet. Silence and boundaries are often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, they are forms of power that most people never master. When you no longer rush to defend yourself, argue your worth, or respond to every criticism, you begin to step into a deeper level of inner strength. Silence is not the absence of a voice, it is the presence of control. It means you have reached a point where you understand that not every situation deserves a reaction, and not every person is worthy of access to your emotional energy. The moment you embrace this, you rise above the noise that once consumed you. You start to conserve your power instead of wasting it on people who only want to provoke. distract, or drain you. This shift is what transforms how others see you, because silence backed by self-respect is louder than any argument you could ever make. When you establish boundaries, you are not building walls, you are drawing lines of clarity. You are saying, with calm certainty, this is what I allow, and this is what I do not. Boundaries teach others how to engage with you. They show that your time is not to be taken lightly, your energy is not freely accessible, and your emotions are not open for misuse. Many people avoid setting boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or being misunderstood. But once you set them even once, with steadiness and without apology, you will notice something remarkable. The people who truly value you will honor them, and the people who only valued what they could take from you will fall away. This is not loss, it is alignment. It is life rearranging itself to match your new levels of respect and clarity. Silence also removes the drama that arguments tend to fuel. When you no longer feel the need to respond to every opinion, defend every choice, or explain every boundary, you regain control over your emotional state. You stop being predictable to those who try to manipulate your reactions. You stop becoming reactive to the moods of the people around you. Instead, you become steady, grounded, and hard to provoke. This calmness unsettles those who relied on your emotional reactions to feel powerful, and it impresses those who recognize true discipline when they see it. Your silence becomes your shield. Your boundaries become your structure. Together, they form a strength that people cannot ignore. People begin to treat you with more respect when they realize you are not easily moved. When they see that your emotions are not accessible on demand, that your reactions cannot be manipulated, that your peace cannot be invaded, they begin to adapt. They speak more thoughtfully. They approach more gently. They weigh their words more carefully. They start respecting your presence instead of assuming your availability. Your calmness sets a higher standard, and your boundaries enforce it. And it all begins when you realize that silence is not a retreat. It is a statement, and boundaries are not rejection. They are self-care that teaches others how to stay in your life without stepping over you. Your personal transformation is the force that shapes how the world responds to you. The moment you begin changing the way you think, behave, and carry yourself, the environment around you naturally begins to shift. People can sense when you elevate yourself, even if you never announce it. They feel the difference in your energy, your posture, your tone, your presence. This inner transformation is not about impressing others. It is about strengthening the relationship you have with yourself. When you start showing up with more discipline, more clarity, more emotional maturity, others instinctively treat you with a different level of respect. They adjust their attitude, their expectations, and their behavior because you are no longer the same person they once interacted with. Transformation does not begin with changing your external circumstances. It begins with changing your internal patterns. When you develop patience, your reactions change. When you develop confidence, your decisions change. When you develop self-awareness, your communication changes. And when your habits change, your entire identity evolves. People respond to this evolution because transformation radiates, quietly but unmistakably. They sense that your mind is stronger, your boundaries are firmer, your values are clearer. They can no longer treat you casually or carelessly, because the version of you they once knew is no longer the version standing in front of them. This transformation becomes even more powerful when you stop needing validation from others. You no longer move to be accepted, you move to remain aligned. You no longer chase approval, you chase purpose. You no longer fear rejection, you fear betraying your own standards. This shift in internal priorities gives you a level of confidence that cannot be faked. It is not loud, not aggressive, not boastful. It is calm and deeply rooted. And when confidence is rooted inside, people feel it without you speaking. They become more intentional with you. They approach you with more respect. They treat you with more seriousness because they can sense that you take yourself seriously. Transformation also changes the way you handle relationships. You begin to walk away from conversations that no longer match your mindset. You stop engaging in arguments that pull you away from your peace. You choose environments that nourish you instead of draining you. You surround yourself with people who challenge you to rise, not those who pull you back to who you used to be. This shift in your circle signals to others that you are growing, and as you grow, their behavior must evolve as well. Your transformation forces clarity. It shows you who can walk with you on your new path and who can only survive in your old one. The world responds differently to someone who carries themselves with intention and purpose. When your transformation is genuine, you no longer seek to control how others treat you. You simply become someone who commands respect through presence, discipline, and inner stability. People rise to the level of the standard you set, and the standard you set rises every time you transform within yourself.